The following is brought to you by PaulAkers.net.
And we're going to fly from Dallas, our home base, to Warrington, Pennsylvania. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to our wonderful host, Paul Akers. Are you there, Paul?
I am. Thank you, Richard. And so this is very special because SnapCab goes way back. I have a good relationship with Glenn. He's a good friend of mine who is the owner of the company, and Joe, he's been in Japan with me along with a lot of his other teams. And we're going to have a great time because, as I tell people, Richio Shingo, son of Shigeo Shingo, I brought him to the United States and we toured all over the United States to a lot of top lean companies. And Richio Shingo said SnapCab is his favorite company that he went to. So this is going to be pretty special. So Joe, I'm going to leave it to you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for that introduction. So welcome to SnapCab in Warrington, Pennsylvania. My name is Joe Dano. I am the general manager here. I've been here for coming up on 20 years now. We've been doing lean for a long time, but we've learned a lot of really simple approaches and how to develop a continuous improvement culture from Paul. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. So at our facility here, we manufacture elevator interiors. This is an example of a unit that's installed. We have a facility here that's 56,000 square feet. We do everything in here from the woodworking part of it to metalworking, metal fabrication, finishing, etc. I'm going to take a walk over here and show you what our product looks like. What makes our product unique is that there's a lot of unknowns around elevator remodeling. There's a lot of code involved, etc., and it can be a complicated process. We've spent a lot of time in the field over the years, and we've developed a system that can be installed with absolutely no special training or no special tools. Everything comes pre-mounted at the appropriate locations and is code compliant. So again, it takes all that guesswork out of the improvement process for elevators. We really try to put ourselves in our customers' shoes, and we include everything in our installation kit, even down to the cleaners and the trash bag to wrap it up at the end. So again, we really want to try to make it as easy as possible for our customers. One thing that I like to point out here too that really makes us more unique is nothing we build is to stock. So everything for us here is just in time. So when the customer sends us their information, everything is designed specifically to their requirements. And in order to do that, we really have to get our employees involved with the continuous improvement process, etc. Again, we've been doing lean for a long time. I've been here 20 years, but I want to say that we were introduced to Paul Akers and 2-Second Lean through a friend of ours named Greg Lieb at Xylem Designs. And this book really did transform our approach to lean here. We were looking for, visiting other people and learning their best practices. Something else to point out, as of right now, we are so busy here, 44% of our production staff are new employees. In other words, they've been here less than a year. And honestly, this book, this Fix What Bugs You approach, really helped us. Even our newest people, even people that have been here for weeks and months, are contributing to improvement here at SnapCab. And that's amazing. And we couldn't do that without these simple ideas. So thank you, Paul, for that.
Amazing, Joe.
Something else that's very important to us, and I'm going to take a walk over here and show you, is our Reward for Mistake program we have at SnapCab. So at SnapCab, one of the things that we've noticed over the years is when people make mistakes, they're inclined to hide it, not tell anybody about it. It's really uncomfortable. So we have a reward process. I'm going to talk a little bit about that real quick because it does set us apart. We have a Gemba board. We have 8 of these Gemba boards located throughout our company. They're in every single department. And the employee is encouraged every single day to take one of these tickets. Anytime something interrupts the flow of work, they write it on this board and they put it in the to-do column on this Gemba board. And then that's something that we discuss every single day. Every single day, management team meets here at every one of these boards throughout the company and discusses what went wrong. We don't call them mistakes, we call them turnbacks. It's a little bit easier to digest. And to give you a quick example of how it works, this is a blow up of one of these tickets, but again, it captures the turnback, what happened. We do have some reinforcement of things like, the 8 waste. If they're constantly thinking about it, it helps them identify it later on down the road, how much time it wasted, who it is. And then there's some countermeasures down below that we capture as well so that we can make sure that we're looking for the best possible countermeasure, something that's mistake proof.
Right. Wow.
Again,
Cool.
so what happens is when an employee enters a ticket onto this board, every single day we hand them one of these tickets. These tickets are collected up throughout the month. And then we do a game at the end of the month where whoever has the most per department can spin this prize wheel and win a prize. They can win, a vacation day, et cetera. Again, really trying to just reduce the fear of making mistakes, because if we can, get past that part and talk about it, there's a lot of good improvement ideas. And this is really the voice of the employee. The management team doesn't present at this board. It's the employees that present to management. Management's responsibility is to dedicate time and resources to make sure we fix these problems. And again, because of this process, every employee has dedicated time every single day to focus on continuous improvement activities. We do try to highlight. Yes, sir.
That is creative and clever. Well done.
It's interesting because a lot of people will say, we're really super busy. Wouldn't it make sense to just forego the improvement time and focus on work? And the answer is no. I'd rather pay overtime and, pay double time, et cetera, for the work, because if we don't do this, we can't improve, right? So an example that came off of the Gemba board that Nate was involved with, he's going to actually explain some of the ins and outs of how that impacted the business. So Nate, take it away.
Hey, Nate.
Hi, how are you? My name is Nate Tomlinson. I've been at SnapCab now for 8 years. I started out on the second shift as a technician, worked my way up to the first shift, and now I'm in a continuous improvement specialist position.
Oh,
and there's
Wow.
yes. And when I first got the position, I said, I have the brains, I have the smarts, I'm going to figure this thing out and I'm going to get it under control. And I very quickly realized that I can't do it by myself. We really have to drive the continuous improvement system, the Gemba board, the rewarding for mistakes. And we really have to get the guys on the floor that are doing the actual work to help with the improvements and to offer their expertise to continuous improvement. And that's when we really started to see a big change.
Wow.
So here, this is our ILP. So this is a sample of our profile. So this is our top profile and our bottom profile. And this is the area where we create that profile. So where you used to have a big giant 4x8 sheet and you'd have routers and dust would be blowing all over the place, we've simplified that as much as possible. And now you can put a panel through here, put the top ILP, put the bottom ILP on in, I don't know, Joe, less than 30 seconds, probably one panel. And we are creating a lot of dust here, and they kept writing on the board over and over, cleaning up dust, had to stop production. So we cleaned up the press line. We added some more dust collection. We still had the same problem. We kept writing it up. And now we have an even bigger dust collection system that collects the dust outside and is emptied by the forklift. So it completely handled the opportunity that we had in front of us, but it took the relentless pursuit for continuous improvement, relentlessly writing up Gembas over and over the same thing for a year in this particular case, to get that improvement implemented.
Wow, wow, wow. Excellent.
incredible. Well done. Thank you, Nate.
So one of the, as we head over to the next section, one of the things that's really important, like Nate said, is really getting the front line engaged. The improvements that have occurred over in that area, there's probably 50. I know the last improvement we made to that area actually saved us $48,000 a year. And it was something that took about $1,000 and 3 weeks to implement. And it's just amazing of the results. And again, it's the frontline workers that came up with that improvement. It wasn't management at all. So this is Tim Islieb. He's going to give us a little example of one of his best improvements.
Hey,
Hi, as Joe said,
Hi,
my name
Tim.
is Tim Islieb. Hello, how are you? Welcome to SnapCab.
Thank
So
you.
quick background, I've been with SnapCab for 15 years. And the last 4, I've been in quality control for incoming materials. I started out in the sealing department. And so we get 15 minutes every day for lean improvements. And so this is one that was in the past. So we would make a list of improvements that we would like and focus on the ones that are the most pressing. So this had to do with our installation kits for our ceilings. So as you can see, some of the issues we were having were transportation, motion, and then, as always, employee genius underutilized. So from there, we did a spaghetti diagram. And as you can see in the red lines, all the traveling we had to do for, you know, to make our installation kit. And as you can see, you're going through the crating area, which, you know, guys working there, you have saws around, it, you know, it's a little dangerous, could be. So from there, we filled out a Kaizen form. So to identify the wastes. So, you know, a lot of walking when we were making the kits. We went through the which wastes, root cause, proposed solution, and then to make sure it, you know, followed our criteria. So from there, we figured out the amount of time that it would take us, even, you know, how far we were walking to make an installation kit. So we proposed it, and they allowed us to shut down the ceiling production for, it was about 2.5, 3 days. All the guys were on board. You know, any if we needed any materials or you know, help moving some rack systems around, if we needed additional equipment, management was, you know, fully on board with supporting us. So after that, this was our spaghetti diagram afterwards. So we actually dropped it. We were making a kit in 20 minutes. We got it down to 5 minutes. We were walking 420 feet for a kit, and we got it down to 90 feet. So we estimated over the years, we're saving approximately $24,000 a year. And we cut our travel time to down 47 miles. Wow. And yeah, so you know, and this is, you know, this is a great tool. You know, we did write it up on the Gemba board, and you know, so, but just the support of you know, our superiors and you know, mentors and coworkers, and, you know, we all came together to you know, make this a reality.
Good, awesome, fantastic job.
Tim, I have a question for you. You've been there 15 years.
Yes.
Joe went on his mission in 2015. So that was like 7 years ago. What was it like when you first joined the company compared to what it's like now?
Well, for me, when I come from a construction background, it was very odd to me to have this type of support and, you know, be able to take ownership in our area. You know, there were a lot of improvements when I came on board that, you know, were just waiting to happen. You know, we're working on sawhorses, and, you know, we just improved every day. I mean, having the time to, you know, make improvements in your area and with the processes, it's been unbelievable. The change that I've seen over the years. Like I said, I've been here 15 years, and it's night and day. I mean, you know, getting, you know, starting out getting, you know, 3 or 4 jobs out, you know, to, you know, getting, you know, 6, 10 jobs out in, you know, less time. Just getting rid of the waste is, you know, huge. You know, everything's where you need it.
Great testimony. That's a great testimony, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to head down here and talk about one of our next improvements, which is a really good one. And one of the things I want to point out, Tim made me think of this. On our Gemba boards, essentially, they're all improvement ideas. We capture anywhere from 230 of those things to 350 a month. That's a lot of opportunity to improve. But it wasn't until we started really learning the concept of getting everyone involved with the process, and again, making it simple, using some of these concepts out of 2-second lean, and realizing that even the little things have a big impact. We've made improvements that are 3-second changes that really impacted our bottom line. So take it away, Nate.
All right, so this is our materials area. What I'm going to show you here is our materials Kanban card. So a lot of people are familiar with Kanban systems. What we had previously was this Kanban card here, which had a QR code that sent a link and sent an email for something to be ordered. But what this does not tell you is there's no visibility on when it's being ordered. It says spray area, but I'm not sure where the spray area is. So what we did was came up with a new card, and each area has a dedicated location, which is posted. So even if the materials team is not here, you know, we might be here, someone here on second shift, they can figure out where the material is for the job very easily. Very simple visuals, color coded, so that we can tell easily where the material needs to get to. So if I need to order some material here, I'm going to go ahead and order some 5/8 flake board. What I would do is take this card and we'll bring it over here, put it into our Kanban card bin where they will be purchased. As you see, a Kanban card to be ordered. So that will be ordered within 24 hours. And then this is our receiving board. So this is the schedule board. So once purchasing purchases it, they'll put the ticket on the receiving board, and now there's full visibility for everyone in the company when that material is coming in. Another quick 2-second improvement we did here is the orange ticket. Now that's for replacement materials. So material that it's going to jump into the schedule, it needs to get to the customer right away. Very easily in 2 seconds or less, you can look over here and know, oh, I have that material for the job that we need to get done for the customer.
That's incredible, Nate.
I don't know if I understand I want to understand the orange one. I saw it one more time. What exactly is the difference?
So everything else you see here is mainly for stock materials. So it's a stock material. We have the material in.
It's an internal Kanban.
Yes.
Okay.
And what you have here, this is for actual turnbacks. So not stock material, a job specific material that we had a turn back in operations in the manufacturing facility.
Okay. So you had a defect or something and you needed to order extra material quickly. So that's like your blue streak system. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, and this is a good visible place to walk by where everyone's walking by it through out the day, and they can quickly see that orange ticket and know that they can jump back into that job and complete it.
Yeah.
And I also noticed on your Kanban board that when you take the one ticket off, it shows a ticket behind it with the word ordered on it.
Yes, it does.
I noticed that. So people know that it's actually ordered.
Yep.
And then they can come over to the receiving board and they can see if it's actually been ordered and what date it's coming in.
And on the back, there's actually a little map of the shop floor, and it'll actually tell you where the material needs to go.
Oh, it's a crumb trail. Excellent.
And this was an opportunity that we came up with all the new hires, that 44% turnaround that Joe was talking about. It really made us realize that we don't have, you know, a standard spot for all of our materials. We don't, it needs to be more clear where things go and how to get them there. And this really made the huge improvement for us.
Okay, so you just you stamp that on there. Does that come off after you've done it? Or does it wipe off?
No,
Nope,
so these actually stay, these cards here that say ordered are actually stationary. In other words, they're affixed at point of use. So if someone goes over to get material and sees that it's down to the order point, they'll immediately be able to see that and know that it's on order. So again, everyone gets informed just in time.
Got it. What about your shirt? What's with your shirt? I'm just curious.
So this is a SnapCab shirt. This is our values here. Be kind, be authentic, and be useful. Especially with all these new people we've been hiring, and we've learned throughout the years that, you know, hiring for character and culture is just as important as hiring for skill. And we've really seen a big improvement with that as far as people buying into the lean concepts and 2-second lean and continuous improvement. You know, instead of these guys with all these experience and they want to tell us how they do it, they can kind of come in, understand our product, and then offer us be as useful as they can to the company.
How many people total in the organization?
92 people.
Wow. And is that both
In this
Canada
location.
and US or just Canada? Just US?
That is just the US, correct? Yes.
Wow, amazing. Okay. Let's rock and roll. Keep
I'm going to
going.
hand you over here to Bob Swift, our shop foreman.
Thank you, Nate.
Hello,
Hey, Bob.
My
Hey,
name is
Bob,
Bob
how you
Swift.
doing?
good. How are you? I
Good,
am
good.
the shop foreman here at SnapCab. I'm responsible for all standard production. So I've been here since 2014. So I've been here a little over 9 years. And I kind of worked my way through a bunch of different departments to the position I'm in now. So I want to show you a couple of quick improvements we have. This is our press area. So this is where most of the manufacturing starts for our wall panels or our ceilings. So we're taking our raw material and it's going through this press. This is spreading the glue. These guys are pushing the panel through on the roller table. It's going to go into the press. We have a lot of different types of material. We have a lot of different sizes. So one of the things that was a problem is we constantly have to move this tray in and out to account for different size materials. So when we move this in and out, it's really hard to see the measurement on there because it's a tape. So I would have a hard time seeing it because it's all the way on the other side. So a quick improvement that we came up with is we came up with these sticks. So it's an aluminum extrusion that we just put on the rail here. And this is our perfect spacer for what size material. Then we can lock it in and we can pull the stick out. This is also an improvement because what we first started doing is we used to take the stick and we had it cut to a dimension where it would sit on this roller. That was the first version of this. And then we kind of found that it was kind of hard to get in there. So we came up with a spot where it's a positive fit, where it sits right on the lip and you don't have to worry about it dropping off.
Awesome.
It's a really quick improvement that allowed us to eliminate the mistakes of putting a sheet through that didn't fit in the rollers. And then what happens is you have a 4x8 sheet or a 5x8 sheet that's covered in glue that you have to now deal with, which is kind of a huge problem for us.
So, Bob, what has that saved you by doing that? What downtime has it saved you, do you think?
We would have it probably 2 or 3 times a press, and it's probably about 15 to 20 minutes to clean up all the mess and all the extra glue because it gets all over your hands. I mean, you're grabbing, it's a PVA adhesive, so it's basically just a wood glue. It's completely on the bottom of that sheet. So you're trying, not only are you trying to pull this huge sheet out of here that doesn't fit and it doesn't work, you're just creating a huge mess. So it probably saved us a half an hour to an hour each press, because ultimately with having new hires and people new training, it's just one of those things that you had to remember to adjust it. We also added this big yellow guard on the press so that you can't push a piece of material through that's too big. It'll physically stop you from doing it.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Excellent.
And another quick improvement. So Joe kind of touched on our just in time. We don't have any stock material. So you can see all these different color pieces of laminate. Everything comes in job specific. Everything is labeled per job. Prior to the, COVID and all the issues with the supply chain, these shelves would just have one job on them. So we wouldn't have to worry about mixing jobs up or anything like that. And now with the amount of delays in material, we have to bring in more material sooner. So we have a bigger inventory just so we know we have it in time. And what we had was we had stuff being stacked on top of jobs that we're shipping out after. So now we label it with the job and the date, and we only put 2 jobs on the shelf that have the same ship date. And then the other quick visual that we added is in red pen is a job that's waiting on something. So we know not to stack anything on top of it. So when the material comes in that we're waiting for, we can put it right in the bin. We don't have to move anything else out.
Awesome.
That's incredible, because you've got a system basically that you've adjusted because of the supply chain issues.
Yeah, it was something that was never really an issue before. We used to have empty bins, but as our lead times kind of went up, we had to kind of adapt. So we have a lot more material on hand. And then another board we have is just a quick metric of how we're doing on the press. So we give a total sheet count and then a time per the press. So we just kind of track and see whether we're on track or off track with how we're doing. And it's kind of to hold people to an understanding of, if there are limitations or there are turnbacks, what is causing you those things to struggle and get off track. And it's to identify the turnbacks as opposed to, now this press took us, the same amount of time to press 100 sheets as it did to press, 105 sheets or 120, to really get that cycle time down per sheet.
Bob,
Yes.
I have a question for you. So, I'm looking at your place, very visual. I mean, really easy to understand what's going on. What are the new people that come in what are their comments about working at SnapCab in general?
There is a little bit of, I would say, hesitation when new people come in. They say, is it really this way? Is it really this easy to, most people, it's, come in, put your head down and just do the job. And it's like, here, we try to explain, like, we're interested in, not only what your hands can produce, but what you have to offer to the team. And there is a learning curve with people when they come in where it's like, is it really this simple? Is it all these visuals?
Foreign. Right.
It's almost a hesitant where it's like, are you trying to tell us, like, this isn't to hold them accountable for time in this mind of like, you have to get this done. It's to point out all the shortcomings and the turnbacks to identify them so that we can eliminate them. And it's not holding each person accountable. It's holding the whole team accountable, but it's just to highlight those turnbacks. And, people accept, the shortcomings if they believe that's part of the culture. And here we try and drive out all those wastes in every phase of our construction or our process.
I really like the word turnback too. In the beginning, I just had to understand it, but I'm really feeling it much better. I think it's a good term instead of a mistake.
Yeah, and we always push it. It's the process. It's not the person. So where did we go wrong in our process that allowed somebody to make a mistake? It puts the ownership on the process.
It is very good, as you say, Paul, that we don't call it mistakes. I mean, my terminology for it is obstructions to flow, but turn back is a nice, simple statement that you can use. That's great. Thank you, Bob.
All right, thanks.
Cheers, buddy.
So as we walk back over here, I just mentioned something that's kind of important, but it made a big impact to us. That scoreboard is super simple. There's no hard to understand metrics. There's no real training involved. The reason why those numbers vary on that board, if anybody noticed that, is because, again, we do not build anything to stock. So we really don't have an idea of what it is we need to build until the customer send in the order. And of course, there's trends, out there in the world of certain materials and certain designs. So our business is ever changing. Every single week, every single day, sometimes the landscape here changes. So sometimes we might be pressing 100 sheets, sometimes we might be pressing 58 sheets. It really depends on the design. So having a scoreboard that's flexible even and simple, again, it's simple. It just really makes a big impact. And I was just going to say too, if anybody is interested, we will be starting up our on-site lean tours coming up in January. So take a look at our website. And if anybody's close by or wants to travel out to see us, we'd love to share ideas. We didn't invent everything we learned. The lean community is about sharing. Again, I wanted to mention Paul Akers' book, and also mention that Paul Akers' book actually inspired us to write a book of ourselves. So what we did was we took,
cool.
so we have a bunch of our best practices. This is a book that we can share with our new employees, and every person that comes and visits us gets a free copy of this. So thanks for the idea, Paul. Appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Get it on audio. Let's put it on the app.
Yeah,
absolutely.
get an audio on the app. We'd love to hear your voice, Joe, every minute doing that.
Really good.
You're too kind, Richard.
I got a quick question before the
Yes, sir.
Q&As come. FastCap's got a goal of having every order being ready to ship within 2 hours. So it's an incredible target. Because you're a custom shop and you've got orders coming in, do you have any sort of goal that you say once an order hits you, you've got to process it through in a certain time?
Yes. So we have those goals set on in the sales department from how long it takes to quote. So a quote should be turned around in 24 hours all the way through the process. However, when it gets to the shop side, again, because certain jobs might take 4 man-hours to complete, put in a crate, other jobs could take, honestly, 40 hours to complete and put in a crate.
Right.
We typically, I don't know if you'd call it cycle time, but we do have goals per model of interior. And again, things like the press line, we know that we can press a sheet 2 to 3 minutes, depending on what it is that we're pressing. So those things, yes, there's goals in mind, and there's some planning. There's some things that we can, tell if we're on track or off track.
Perfect.
In general, Joe, what does a customer wait from the time they place the order to the time they get the product?
It really depends. I mean, some products can be turned around really quickly. Our current lead time right now is 6 to 8 weeks. Well, it was 6 to 8 weeks for standard. It's going up a little bit right now. And I'll tell you, it's, you know, a lot of supply chain issues. But again, we have a creative team. We're always looking at other options for certain, you know, can we change 304 stainless to 301 and get it quicker, et cetera. So lead time's creeping up. Honestly, we're having record sales right now as well. That's why 44% of our staff are new hires. But it's typically our best scenario would be 6 to 8 weeks for standard product. And because of the
high sales, why the growth? Where's that coming from?
You know, I'm not 100% sure yet. I know the sales team is digging into that, but part of it is the way we're approaching our customers. So we're now going into the majors and we're doing a lot of the work for them. So in other words, we're putting together these packages that can be easily integrated to their system. So SnapCab basically is the easy button. And again, our product is different because, you know, the industry standard used to be 3 to 4 days to remodel an elevator interior. Our product installs in 1 day, including demolition. And it includes everything, like I said, down to the trash bag at the end. So we do, in this environment, in this constrained environment, I think our product has a lot to offer because of that simplicity and how quickly it can be installed, because again, it's hard to get labor right now.
Sure.
So they can do a lot more with less people with our product.
So we all know
And
that.
you know, the fact that, Joe, that you've looked at the install for the customer of going from 4 days to 1 day, that's an incredible improvement. I mean, 3 days of having an elevator down compared to having it down for 1 day, it's unbelievable. Because my son-in-law is an elevator mechanic, and he tells me horror stories of waiting on supplies and wrong parts, you know, and doing the rope, it going up to the top and it's 10 foot short and he's got to wait for another one to be done overnight. It's just, it's yeah, you're right. Okay, I think we might be, you go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say it's confusing too. You know, elevator remodeling isn't very simple. We're actually building a school right now called SnapCab Academy, where we have all kinds of online resources to train people and teach them the concepts of elevator, the terminologies of the elevator parts, how elevators can be remodeled with our system. And now we have an actual on-site school that we're putting together as well. So we can invite people in here that can get fully trained on our system and again, be successful. Our system is mistake proof. You can mismeasure a couple of inches and it'll still work perfectly. And I think that's something that there's a lot of interest in that in the field.
That's great. Fantastic. That is good. Okay, I think, Joe, we might be ready for Q&A. Brad, we got some questions.
Yeah, I got some questions. Just a comment. I understand your business is up and down, but Linda Spring wanted to know, just you saw the posters that said "Fix what bugs you" and the shirt that said "Be kind, be authentic, be useful." Just how did you come about developing those?
So the fix what bugs you, that came, you know, again, from 2-second lean approach and just that thing that everyone can get their head around it, fix what bugs you. And it reinforces the 8 wastes. So it's a constant reminder. The nice thing about having it on everybody's shirts is it's just, you're seeing it everywhere and everybody really gets to be experts at, you know, the pursuit to remove waste, the war on waste, as we say. The be kind, be authentic, be useful. Again, those are our new core values. We've learned over the years that it's very hard to teach culture, at least in our opinion. It's fairly easy to teach how to do things with simple systems like this. So our approach now to hiring new people is to make sure that people that come into the company are aligned with our values, make sure that people come in are aligned with be kind. So the way we treat each other in the company, the way we treat our customers, our suppliers, et cetera, we always start with kindness. If we start with kindness, our authenticity just supports that. And being useful just means we want to help the community at large, the world at large, our internally, our families, our friends, our suppliers, our customers, et cetera.
What a great group. Fantastic.
Love that. Beyond just what you do today.
Yeah, thank you.
Second question here is from Tiago. He's just asking, how is your daily routine, the sequence and the habits and duration managed? How do you what's the cadence you're using to set that up?
As far as the production goes?
Yeah.
We can, Bob, do you want to talk a little bit about our planning? So this is our production planning area. We do like I said, our morning meetings are here and our production planning. One thing I'll point out is Yeah, we do it. We do have a second shift here as well. So we do an afternoon production planning meeting as well. And then when we have our Gemba walk, first shift and second shift is in the same spot. So we can share what happened on first shift and second shift. And then they'll have another production planning meeting before second shift starts. So I'll let Bob just quickly describe it.
There we go. So this is our production planning board. What it has is every job gets its own magnet. And then each magnet has the tasks that have to be completed, or each department has to get filled out, has to be completed. So what we do is we have this week, next week, and 2 weeks out. So anything for this week really should be in production. Anything that's going to be over here is kind of, might have a trouble, might be on hold. We also have a different section for on hold. But the magnets are designed to move across the board. So these are all the shops in our shop, the different areas, and it starts with the metal shop. So everything is dependent on the metal shop. We need that first. That's why it's in order of production. So as the magnet moves across the board, you'll see we just highlight it. So if it's started to being highlighted, it means it's in progress. Once we highlight this box at the bottom, that means it's completed. So the magnet should fill up as it moves across the board. We have some cross trains, so we can have people that move from different departments between our panels, our ceilings, or our metal shop. We kind of manage on a daily basis where our needs are for each department. But by and large, everybody kind of works in one department or one area.
Bob?
Yes.
How do you know if you're on time, ahead of time, or behind time?
So one of the things when going back to before COVID, what we had was we had a delivery date. We have a ship by date. So we have a communicate ship by date with the customer, and they were throughout the week. So we would have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're 4 days, we're 4/10s of production. And what we had was we had specific jobs that had to ship on specific days of the week. One of the things that we adjusted to give manufacturing a little bit more flexibility is we only have a communicated ship by date of the end of the week now. So it's always a Thursday. So that gives us the flexibility in production to kind of move. If a job's going to take, say, 30 hours as opposed to 6 hours, it gives production a little bit more time to manage it and put more resources toward the jobs that are going to take longer. So we'll start them earlier in the week, and the jobs that are going to be maybe 4 to 6 hours, they don't have to get started until a little bit later in the week.
Okay, so today is your ship date because it's a Thursday today.
Yep.
How do you know what you're going to ship today?
So what we do is once production, as they move over, they'll populate in this area, and then production's really done with it from there. So you can see there is quite a bit of jobs that are still in progress for this week. So we're not going to ship everything. We have some issues. But what happens here is once this board gets populated, it's kind of like a Kanban. The shipping and receiving team will come and pull this magnet, and then they have their own board of shipping and receiving of what jobs are scheduled to ship and what jobs are waiting on the bills of lading from our vendors and stuff like that. I mean, from our customers. But this is a good visual because this board should really be a little bit more empty towards the end of the week. And then we would start pulling from, this is next week's work, 10/27, and then this is 2 weeks out, 11/3.
Okay.
But just by the look of it, yes.
So do you have a daily 3S time or morning meeting? Do you have any routines like that?
Yeah, so we have a morning production meeting where the heads of each department get together. We discuss the plan for the day of what jobs are going to be worked on, which jobs are the priority, which jobs are something like this, where these Kanban cards.
That's what's happening here. How do you keep your facility clean? Do you do 3Sing at a particular time, or how is that?
So we have a half an hour every day that we shut down each shift, and we do that. We have it. We call it our lean improvement time. So it's any kind of process that they want to improve. That's where the fix what bugs you kind of comes in. It's anything in your daily routine that's really causing you stress, anything that's really causing you frustration. It's encouraged that they have the tools and the resources to kind of fix those problems. And we stress, the simple, quick fixes. When we first launched it, that was kind of getting everybody on board, that fix what bugs you. And we used to do also, when we did the meetings for the prize wheel, we would also do quick videos of the person, what the status was before the improvement and what it was after. And I mean, we probably had 10 or 15 videos each company meeting of just quick improvements that saved us, hours upon hours. We did it was a shorter form than the Kaizen form, but it just highlighted how small incremental improvements really helped our process.
Awesome. Okay.
Brilliant.
Just a
Thank you.
follow-up question on your on hold cards. How do you process those?
So what happens here is once a job goes on hold, it'll go down into this area, and then we'll reorder the material. But as soon as we order the material, manufacturing will create this card of what we're waiting for. Then it gets turned into the purchasing team. They'll actually put the date on it. Then it goes onto that board that you saw earlier. And that's a cue for our receiving team. Also, when that material comes in, you need to let production know. So they'll actually physically bring this card down here and they'll hang it under the material. So we know, manufacturing knows, hey, we can start back up on this job because we got the material in that we need it.
So
Because what was
Bob,
happening
you've
before,
been there
yes,
you've been there for 9 years, right?
yes.
And when did you guys actually start doing lean? Do you remember?
That's right around when we start. When I first started is when we launched that Fix What Bugs You, that initiative. But it was still, there was different iterations of it, but that was a big launch. Because when I started was when.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and
What
how
about
long?
two-second?
Yeah, so how long before you started seeing the results after you started doing lean, so to speak, proper? Were the results immediate, or did it take months
Yeah,
to get people on board and get orientated?
When we launched that campaign, it was huge. I was just in production at that time, but it just empowered everybody to fix the simple things in your daily life that kind of gave you headaches or caused you frustration. Like I said, that Joe kind of referred to it as the low-hanging fruit. It's like we cleared a lot of that stuff out. We had different jigs, different fixtures, quick solutions to problems that we were having. I don't know if we can walk over there, but we have a cardboard cutting station. That was one of my first projects when I started here. We just had a station where you used to have to cut cardboard with a tape measure and a knife, and I just made up a board that has a bunch of pegs in it, where it has the dimensions. You drop the peg in there, and then you cut the cardboard. You don't have to measure it anymore. All you need is a knife that's at the station.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
I mean, it really spread like wildfire when we first launched that campaign. It was a great initiative because it really empowered everybody in the company. It was something where everybody took ownership of their areas, of what they were doing, and that 2-second lean idea of like, it just has to be something quick and simple. And, you see those impacts right away. I mean, it's instantaneous, the improvements. And once people don't have that are new here, don't have that recollection of how hard it was, like cutting cardboard before, but it's like, you don't want to go back to that. You don't want to have to stretch the tape measure out. And it's like, they're spoiled in a way because they're benefiting from a lot of these improvements that we made, but it's like, hey, try and cut it the old way. And it's like,
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't get a
you.
full appreciation from all the improvements that we made, because it makes our lives so much easier now. Even this board, it was born out of a necessity where, we had schedules and stuff like that, but not everybody in the company could see where each project was in the stage of production. Now it's visual, so everybody in the company can see exactly what job is in what stage of production and when it will ship, or if it's having issues.
Incredible.
Okay.
Well done.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, Richard.
Okay, Brad, any more?
Just one last question. Do you hold a separate meeting or not for your improvements, or is that part of your daily meeting?
It's typically part of our daily meeting. So again, Bob had mentioned we will showcase our employees' improvements. So we'll do a before and an after video, and then we'll showcase that, send it out to the company, review that at a company meeting. But we do like to talk about it here as well. And it's nice to share those ideas, because a lot of times someone from a different department can use, maybe there's a concept or something that they can apply to what they do, what their work is like.
Richard, and somebody wants to know what headsets we're using for this. I can't remember. You always get everyone to get the same headsets. Joe's using what headset? What brand?
Yeah,
is that?
it's a Jabra Evolve 75. Jabra, Jabra, Evolve 75.
Right.
I'll put it in the thing.
Yeah, they work really well. I remember who figured that out. If it was Richard or somebody figured that out, but those are really good ones.
I also say,
Okay.
I'd like to compliment your camera crew. Really nice close-ups.
Nice work, Tim. Yeah, I just, I really appreciate this opportunity. I will say, since I've been here for 20 years, when we very first started lean here, I started learning lean in the 90s, and lean seemed complicated. 2-second lean makes lean simple, right? Right, Paul? You kept saying when we were in Japan, you kept saying, Joe, lean is simple. Lean is simple. You can get wrapped up, but I tell you what, lean is simple at SnapCab. And I've seen that, when I started out here, I was the sole person in charge of fixing things. And that is not an easy thing.
Right.
So now that everybody's involved, because it's simple, it's great.
Shingo, when I asked him what lean was, the former president of Toyota China, he simply said, it is the accumulation of small ideas from everyone. And I
Love
think
it.
you were actually on the bus when he said that, because
I do remember that.
yeah. And I'll never forget when he said it. So what is the Toyota production system? The accumulation of small ideas from everyone.
Talk about
End of
simple,
subject.
right? Just end the subject. That's right.
It's perfect.
I love it.
Okay, Joe, on behalf of AME, Paul, the conference, and everyone on our team, we want to give you a big, huge thank you to you and your team, to
way to
Nate,
go.
to Bob, to Tim, to everyone at
Amy,
SnapCab,
Bob, everyone,
Warrington. Absolutely fantastic.
Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Remember, like and subscribe and pass this on to other people. Let's change the world together. And remember my app, 2 Second Lean Play. It's all free and it has all my books in the audio version as well as some other great authors. You're really going to enjoy it.
Brought to you by paulakers.net, where you'll find all Paul's books and lean resources for free, including the new 2 Second Lean Play app, like Audible, but free. To listen to Lean is Lean on the 2 Second Lean Play app at paulakers.net.